How's everyone feeling today? We good?
Yeah.
First and foremost, thank you very much for coming out today. It's very uncommon to see black people come out on time, and you guys came out on time. So yeah, big up yourself, big up yourself. Yes, today we're going to be discussing something about, how we can use art as a form of liberation. In the past, music and art forms has always been more than entertainment for black people. It was used as a form to challenge everything that was meant to hold us down. So today we're going to look into that and see how we can actually get inspirations from what has been done in the past, and we can actually reflect on that and see how we can push that further in a society that's profiting off our ignorance. So we can see how we can use our art to educate, inspire, and uplift ourselves and our community. First thing that we're going to look at is how did our ancestors use art, such as like carvings, dance, music, and oral storytelling to actually preserve knowledge.
Greetings, everybody.
Greetings.
Just be a cop. Greetings.
Greetings.
Thank you. Right. If we go back to say way back BC, they call Medu Neter. Now, Medu Neter is from ancient Kemet. Kemet is what today they call Egypt. Yeah. Medu Neter meant divine speech, or the beautification of the word, just like in Islam, just like in the Psalm. And we know through generations, the message is always spread through music, whether it be through a griot, whether it be through Bilal singing the first one. We've always, it's our stories that have come through music, have always done it for us. In a short way. Would you say?
Do you have anything to add to that, Mr. Boston?
Yeah. Steal away, steal away, steal away to Jesus. Now, for some people, that's spiritual, right? The lament of North African enslaved people. But we also know that within that, that was a warning to somebody to say that they were going to run away, that they were going to run from a plantation. So we're talking about message in the music, that music is not just for entertainment, but music has every kind of social and political function. So within, and to just put it simply, because it's such a huge question, that our music and arts are fundamental to life. I don't think within an African diaspora framework, there is a division between art and life, just as no division between spirituality and lived experience. It's not magical realism. The world is magical. So the same way when it comes to our arts. So to kind of narrow it down to resistance, you see that our music has been at its most engaging and powerful when it's been linked to those moments of struggle. So if we're talking about the experience of enslaved people, then think about the music that comes out of those plantations. That was also about resistance, thinking about why it is that Santeria and the other Yoruba derived forms still have these powerful songs. They're about psychic resistance by preserving your heritage, but also the songs of the enslaved people like Steal Away, Freedom, Freedom Over Me, Before I Be a Slave, I'll Be Buried in My Grave, a song that you can find in the northern US states, but right throughout the Caribbean. And then we're looking at just to bring it up to date, the 60s, the 70s, the Black Power movement, right? It's a Black arts movement as well. Amira Baraka, other great performers that were fundamental to it, because people wanted to create an art that was connected to life. I grew up with Lionel Richie. Hello, is it me you're looking for? In a huge old mansion, right? That I didn't recognize because nobody I knew lived in that mansion, and nobody I knew was around a clay pot, right? Some of you are too young to remember the video. And then hip hop came along. That connected the art, and I'm just talking about the music, but there's so many other forms, but that connected people back to their social experience. It's about how does the music connect to your political and social experience?
How do we reconnect back to those art forms? A lot of the music and arts that we consume, if you would agree with me, is really not connecting us back to ourselves. It's taking us away from that frequency of how we're supposed to be. So how do we reconnect back to that?
Let's say if you were to define culture, culture is what you survive by. In other words, if you look at Caribbean food, for example, yeah, we knew initially it came from the throwaway bits of the masses plate. Now it's called today soul food. And then it makes big money. It's a culture that survived. People ate from it. When, let's just say reggae music, when it was all conscious, it was nice, back in them days, yeah? And you knew that for me growing up, it was a battle cry. We weren't mercenaries, we were warriors. You knew to yourself that there was a code that went in reggae music that, okay, if you went to a shaka dance back in the day, it would have been, oh, that side would be Brixton, that side Peckham, but there was no war. It was like all the warriors coming to one place to reason. Now, what happens is, as an industry, whether it was fashion, it was music, it was blues dance, it was partner, there was a lot of money that went around that culture. So it wasn't just, revolution, it was economic revolution, it was physical revolutions, all of the above. Now, how things have changed, why I say from warrior to mercenary. Because in our day, someone said to you, wait, go and shank his mum. You'd be like, we're gonna get licked down, slapped, kicked with. Now it's a possibility. Because the message in the music hasn't got that foundation it had initially. Because I could go to a youth club. In that youth club, I would see man from 45 down to 17. So I saw role models. I would say to most of the young people today, anybody here around the age of 19? Hands up, anybody? Up here, big people, all right. Well, I'll ask the audience anyway. If you're 17 years old, or you have a 17-year-old brother or nephew, where could he go to sit down and reason with a 35 or a 45-year-old man? So therefore,
Probably in jail.
exactly. Sadly, or on a corner. So there is no way, how do we expect our children to grow into men if there are no real examples out there to go and learn from? I'm not saying they're not out there, but there's no one place to go where you can say, when I was younger, we had Simba. And I'm sure back in the day, you might have Malcolm X or Inkbox. Now, remember, I'm from London, by the way. I've been living here for the last 5 years, yeah, I'm a school teacher. But walking around Bristol, what I have seen, which is really kind of sad, I see lots of young people, lots of big people, but not a lot of connections. And when it is, it's like, about 10 pounds, see, that ain't right. We're at the Saturday schools. And we can say the authorities, them, this, that, but really and truly, it's our kids. It's us to educate them. If you're going to pay someone to educate your children, you're going to have problems. Got to be from your own side. So you may think, what's this got to do with the music? Because when I was growing up, music was education, and education was music. I wouldn't have known about Marcus Garvey if Bernie Spear didn't sing about it. I wouldn't have known about Black Star Liner if he didn't sing about it. The 2/7 Clash, Robbery in Brixton, Philip Levi and Saxon. Those were our school books growing up. They taught us our culture, they taught us our liberty. Whereas now, if I say to you the last time you heard a young rapper or spitter or whatever sing about God, any of his lyrics for a whole one.
Great.
Got you?
I think you just hit a bit. Go on.
Yeah, I think it's a mixed picture. I do listen to a lot of positive music from younger musicians, drawing on different elements and so on. Bristol, Manchester, further afield. I think it's a mixed picture. I think the problem kind of like is the responsibility of the artist and the political climate of the time and what people are drawn to. So when that roots reggae was popular, it was the mainstream popular. Whereas now, you get given spectacle, right? You have a video with somebody dancing in a bikini, you have a video with a conscious video, and you have Kabaka Pyramid, or you have Gold Teeth Badman with just pure people talk about murderation, right? which one do people go to? But sometimes we're saying, oh, we didn't know about this event, or we didn't know about that event. But the thing is, people go towards spectacle. And we have a music industry that will just pay for the highest bidder, or where they see the audiences. They do not have a responsibility to consciousness raising. So in a sense, you kind of have to ask. So I grew up with Tupac and Biggie, and I love that play with a certain kind of masculinity, because I wasn't going to go out and shank nobody or shoot nobody. It was just a certain thing, and frustrated, you put on Tupac. All I need in this life of hell, I'm not living in hell, right? I'm a university student. But I'm just being honest, right? But it's safe, because I know it's not real. And then they killed each other, or they got caught up in that division between reality and fiction. But the thing was, I think the legacy of that and the difference is that we don't seem to have the higher vibration across the board. It's here in pockets with some artists, but they're swimming in a sea against, in a swamp really, where the spectacle pays and the most extreme pays. And and I think it's kind of, I think sometimes you almost have to kind of have that movement within the arts too. Is what is it we're trying to achieve other than a buck? Because the audience will go to the spectacle. It's like the same with Netflix. You know, load in the sex and violence in the first 5 minutes, and people are going to keep watching. Oh, what's going to happen next?
Right. Sorry. That's a fantastic answer, sir. I love what you said about, it's all about the spectacle. But the thing is, growing up myself, I think I have always been fascinated with LA music. I'm a musician myself, and I've been making music since I was a teenager. And most of the music I was making were based off of things that I never lived. It was just because I thought it was cool, and I thought that's what people wanted to hear, and also the market value of it. And I made music for over 10 years of my life, touring, 30 million streams, sold a lot of records. Then it hit me just 2 years ago that I was wasting my life gift just enriching and dehumanizing people's mind, because the things I was saying on my tracks, right now I can't even listen to them anymore, because I realized that this is not what it's about. Music is a gift. Our talents, you don't learn these things, even if you learn, but you need some sort of gift from God to be able to, exhibit your talent. And then using that just for the only aim of making money, I think there's more to life than that. And that's something that a lot of young creators struggle with. To be honest with you, it's really hard to pay the bills, to juggle life struggles and the making music. So you want to make money out of it, and I understand it, which is really hard to navigate that part, because it's hard being an independent artist and making music the way you want. What happened with me, basically, I stopped, everything that I built my career on, I had to take a step back and start a new journey, which I'm telling you right now is the best thing that I've done in my life, because now it's giving me that fulfillment that I understand that I'm laying what I'm actually doing, what I need to be doing, rather than doing what I thought I should be doing. And that's something that every creator struggles with. So as an elder, what advice could you give to young creators like me, and I know a ton of other people out there that also dealing with, how should I do this now? If I sing about my life, it's gonna be boring. People don't want to hear this. If I educate, who's gonna listen to this? So it's how do we navigate this?
You got to dig into your truth. You've been on a journey, and that part of your journey was being inauthentic and then coming to a point of being authentic. We all do it. We all start with imitation. There's nothing wrong with that. UK hip-hop, standard American, then it got British. The thing is with guys, sometimes we have a fantasy of what we want to be, and then the reality. People tell me that on the first night when they've ever been in prison, they're bawling. All you hear is man bawling. But nobody talks about bawling in their songs. So you have to dig into the truth, right? So you ask yourself the first question, what am I? I've got this gift, I can flow, I can put some lyrics together. Then you ask yourself, why? And then you ask yourself another question, is what do I want to put out into the world? James Brown, not the most admirable person, but he could make it funky. There is no way, even Wookie, right? If I'm having a hard day, I put Wookiee on before I leave the house. Every day is like a battle, but we're easy. So you know what I'm saying? You can't tell me you cannot make a deep tune, your truth, and make it funky. So the artist has to kind of think of your transcendence. What do I want to give to my brethren then, who I am mourning? Do I want to see another one of them dead, or do I want to take the next step? If I'm not actually living a life and I'm a university student or whatever, what right have I to really be pretending that I'm living a life that I'm not? Because the whole point is I've had the option to live a different life. So tell the truth. So the artist has to kind of think, you will make money. You might not make as much money, but you will make some money, but make your tune funky. Use that flow, use that aesthetic. If you're right to do the same thing, do it well, but just ask yourself, what is your truth? And what is the truth you want to put out in the world? If you want to be a Keith Murray and you actually have lived a certain life, reflect it, that's cool. But then ask yourself, above that, what is it, the message you want to leave? Do you want to leave a nihilistic message? Or do you want to tell people, my life is a warning?
Thank you very much, Dr. Bolton. Thank you very much. That was good. So Rashmini, the question that I have for you would be, what role does spirituality plays in grounding and guiding our creative direction? Because, like, a lot of time, I feel like you cannot separate spirituality with the physical. You cannot just live life as a physical being without reflecting on your spiritual journey, because they go hand in hand. And as Africans, spirituality has been a very big part of our life, right? Also, as a creative, I feel like it's very important, having that spiritual understanding of yourself. So how do you think that spirituality could actually help ground us as a creative?
Well, for me, I would say, just as an individual, for me, it was always the drum. Yeah. Every year, I used to play at Carnival in London on a sound called Jab Observer. And what got me, it was African people. Because no matter what language, what culture, what fashion, when the beat hit, it was like a sea of melanin. Everybody danced with the same rhythm, energy, yeah? So whether they knew what the singer was singing about, they all felt what the singer was singing about. I remember a song to sing, let's see, anybody here my age range? You might know this tune. All right, let me see. I've got something I'd like to say. It's kind of colorful, but I'll say it anyway. Black is our color, and black is our name. Health, strength, prosperity, and wisdom is our game. Because black we are, and black we will always be. Black in the sight of everyone, it's so beautiful to see. Now, those were the songs, thank you. Those were the songs in my day which made my spirit. Remember, I'm taking you back now, sir. Remember Steve Welch? Hammersmith Palace, Soul Nights Out. This man was a soul head white guy, loved his soul, loved his black music, loved it. Once a month, massive dance, Hammersmith Palace, Soul Night Out. Now, when we went there, it was Soul Boys night. And he goes, I'm gonna play a record right now, you lot. And when I play it, you can't keep still. We thought, Englishman. Aswad, Warrior Charge. Dum, 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 dum. You saw the whole place skanking. Skanking. Now, if you knew back in the day, skanking was the African revolutionary dance. True? You know, when you see a man come on with some foot and look at own song, you say to yourself, yeah man, what the footwork there? What? Now to you have people like the Shaka Warriors, Mo Mbasa, Jashaka. And behind each one of them sounds was a big crew of people. They were the warriors. Those were the warriors. And every warrior had the drum. When you hit the bingy, hear that sound? Now, they were before that, there was no punk rock. There was no hip hop. Remember, hip hop come from the same reggae beat, the heartbeat. Without the heartbeat, there's no spirit. Without the spirit, there's no heartbeat. From this, you can find reggae, jazz, hip hop, because the heartbeat is in every single song. The heartbeat ain't there.
No heart.
So, to cut long story short, no matter what part of Africa you go back to, whenever there's a song, there's always a drum. It could be the bapa drums in Orisha. It could be the funde in Jamaica. It could be the djembe from West Africa. Drum is always present because from the drum comes the message. And as you know, the talking drum, for those who don't know, is a talking drum. A man would say like, hey, bratakam. Drum will go, bratakam. If you know the sound, you know the language. The drum has saved us, as we saw at Revolution. You knew when you were up in your plantation and you're hearing, hey, it's time. What do you call last there? What do you broken last there?
That's why they banned it in Florida.
Only it wasn't too long ago in the Caribbean that we were allowed to play the drum again. I'm going back about what, 30 years? 40 years around there? Because Father Demogo said the drum incited riots. So when you go to Rastaman dance, you hear the Bingy songs. They're marching songs. They're songs of revolution. What changes it? It's usually the producer. The man saying, come we go chant down Babylon one more time. And then the producer comes in. Can we just say, can we pull down her knickers one more time? Yeah. Or can we just shank Daddy one more time? Remember Public Enemy? Remember NWA? Remember Life Before NWA? Aye.
Well, thank you very much for that, sir. So I think we're not doing so good with the time. Finally, we're just gonna wrap this up. I just have one more question for you guys. We'll keep it as brief as possible. So, I love what you said. In the Caribbean, drum was being banned because it was instigating political change and riots and stuff like that. How do we ensure that we, as this generation, use our art and music or whatever form? Because it might not just be music. There's so many things that Black people create. So, how do we use our creativity to actually instigate proper political and social change in our society today?
I'll keep it short and sweet. Bob Marley, redemption songs. Sam Cooke, Born by the River. People don't get remembered for singing about shanking daddy and boxing mommy. Singers who stand the test of time, songs have become legends. Legends, Garnet Silk, Hello Mama Africa, that revolutionized reggae music. That took the slackness away and put the consciousness back. So in other words, a song that should hit you in your heart is an ancestral song. It's a song which you know, you think and feel. It makes you feel different. That's the way. That's the artist.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And I would add to that, understand your times. Lean into your time. Every time is a different time. And so every time needs a different message and a different reflection on that message. What does your time require of you as an artist? What sonically does it require? Because we're hearing things differently, different soundscapes, different things. But lean into your time and think of that distillation of something classic that speaks to it. Because, Bob Marley, Sam Cooke, there are particular times in history, different particular contexts. Lean into your time and think of what it requires. What does it need of you? How do you speak to it? But the other point I would say is that we have to think about owning the means of production. Black Swan Records, 1910, 1920 was the first Black-owned record company. What we're seeing is Tidal, Jay-Z and Beyonce try to obviously start their own thing. Thinking about, we are the oil of the cultural industry, not just music, across the art forms. but we don't own the production. So we're creating huge profits for other people. Thinking about how we get to move into a situation of not just producing the music and saying, oh, we have a nice house and we have enough money from the picnic there and my grandchildren, but to say you have legacy ownership. Because that then changes. So if you take film, you can make whatever film you like if your backers are on the same page as you. I go to Hollywood and I say, I want to make a film about a nice black family, working class family, and then, ooh, we don't know if it's going to sell, mate.
Can't do that, mate.
No. Can we get someone shot? Can someone, and I'm like, oh, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
If you're levering your capital from people who have a similar political, social ethos as you,
right,
then your likelihood to have the independence to make something more interesting, engaging, relevant increases.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Borton. I think what you just said is one of the biggest problems for black creators, because sometimes original black creators, we take our arts, but we don't have the funding, so we have to, water down so many things that we want to show. We can't express that because now you're working on someone's else financial plan. So, and that's the reason why you see a lot of rappers, they talk about so many things that trap young black men into repeating the same cycle of like, thinking about shanking, thinking about guns, thinking about, the way they sexualize our women, the way they make our women feel like just objects rather than black queens and uplift them. Like, it's really hard to see that being portrayed because it doesn't sell. And who says it doesn't sell? The person that gives you the money to make this record, to make this production. So I feel like one thing that we can take from what you just said is, finding a way to support, black creatives, buy black music, support black music, especially when it's independently funded. Because, that's the only way that we can actually push this narrative further.
Well, just quickly say, but sometimes you've got to use your smarts, right? Being a Nancy, someone's giving you some money to make an album, you're going to give them some chupping, you got a jump up tune, you got a sexy tune. You can still have some codes, like I won't say this, but I will say that will entertain people. But put in some stuff at the end of the day is deep, right?
Yeah,
you play the game. You don't have to be a slave to the game when you're playing the game.
A lot of people are slaves to it because it's really hard. To be honest, it's really hard. Once you sign that dotted line,
but there's one other way.
You follow the script now.
There's one other way. North London, there's a singer called Aisha Angel. Google it, bad singer. Now he did this is in the days of CDs, Now
I still buy.
Me too. Now he was on the radio. North London radio stations play the music which is made in North London. Yeah. He came to our sound to his first ever pick of the tune Blow Up. Now he's never done a pick before. He came out and did this, and the whole audience was singing his music. 3-4 tracks, the whole audience sang them all. He was like, the point I'm making is, to cut all through it short.
Yeah.
You got YouTube and radio.
Yeah.
You got sound systems. You got hip hop markets. Let your own homegrown pirate stations, internet instigate. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
That's how it's got to work.
Yeah.
A village industry makes the village grow.
Right. That's it. We just have to keep pushing. Keep using the community to push the music and push the narrative as long as it helps to uplift us. Before we round this up, I just want to give the audience, if you have any question, I know just want to make you guys feel alone. Just 1 or 2 questions, that's all we're going to take. Anyone with any question, just raise your hands. Okay, go on.
It's not really a question, but for us to get our story back, we have to not support the things we're not into. So like they're saying about artists they made to talk about women in certain ways and drugs and shooting. If you engage, you're supporting that, and you're supporting the narrative and the story that's what sells.
Right.
So we have to come out of that story and say we're not supporting that because that's not true of us.
Right.
So we all should participate in saying that is not really a true story for us.
Yes.
The problem is we enable it. We are enablers by supporting it, by buying it, by listening to it.
By
That's
going to
my
the concert, by shaking it there.
by shaking it
Yeah.
and enjoying it and stuff. So we're saying, yeah, that we are saying, yeah, they're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if we say it's wrong, which most of us do, I hope. Yeah.
Yeah, resistance.
Right. But when you get into the schools, I work in a school, yeah? If the parents knew what the children were listening to, they'd have a heart attack. Because, you know, at home it's them playing that nice song, you're still like, oh, mum, let's all together again, yeah. But when they're in school, the music can sound disgusting and terrible. So, as educators, we talk to them about the reason about it, say like, hang on, if I said to your mum on street what you said just now, what would you do to me? And Afia, then what are you saying it for? Because a lot of them have the mentality that, you know, this is it. If this is all you see, it's all you know.
Thank you very much. Sorry, guys. This is a very long topic, and I know that we can't really cover it all today, but thank you very much, Dr. Buxton. Thank you very much, Ras Rudy. It's been a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, please could you give it up for them? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert.
Good thanks.
One more time, please give it up for the panel.